educational call-in program dedicated to atheism, skeptical inquiry, and the separation of church and state. My name is Keight Farr, and my co-host this week is Scott Leopold.
Hey.
Hi, Scott. How you doing?
Great. Good to be here.
Yeah.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. All of them. Or
all of them.
None of them,
or
if you prefer. So, if you're an atheist, agnostic, or free thought group in the state of Washington, and you'd like to get mentioned here on Ask an Atheist, please email us at www.askanatheisttv. We do have a few announcements. We are, in fact, moving. It turns out that SCANtv has, been defunded, and so we are going to become an AM radio station on KLAY, 1180 AM in Tacoma. And we want to thank the friendlyatheist.com website for helping us out with a fundraising drive on that one. And do we have any news stories today?
We do. We like to do things in the good, the bad, and the ugly format, so I think I'll start off with the good, if that's all right.
Absolutely.
Well, the good news is that in the war on Christmas, Christmas is winning. This is great. This season, Merry Christmas, not Happy Holidays or Season's Greetings, will dominate retailers' marketing messages. There will be Christmas sales and Christmas trees and Christmas carols galore. That has the American Family Association, arguably one of the loudest voices advocating the use of Christmas in retailers' marketing messages over the past few years, predicting that its crusade could conclude in the next year or two. Randy Sharp, the Director of Special Projects at the AFA, said that in the past 5 years, the group has seen the percentage of retailers recognizing Christmas in their advertising jump from 20% to 80%. Just 8 retailers are left in the group's list of quote-unquote companies against Christmas. It's also becoming more challenging to find a large national retailer to single out for the group's annual boycott. This year, Dick's Sporting Goods, which boasts an online holiday shop, will be the target of the boycott. The AFA is expected to send an action alert to its 2.3 million supporters on Friday morning. That alert will urge shoppers to boycott Dick's between now and December 25th. So I guess the war on Christmas has gotten started, but I guess they've got a leg up on them.
It does sound that way, but I heard about Dick's Sporting Goods on the news a while back. And, you know, I have to say that I praise them personally for being inclusive rather than, just narrowing down on one specific, wintertime, December holiday. I mean, there are a lot of people in this country, in this world, and to single out just Christmas, it seems a little bit, I'd like to say un-American, because we're all in this together. I mean, we're all one united country, or at least we're supposed to be. Well,
and for me, the holidays is all about, at the end of the year, it's festive. I like it when there's more snow on the ground. To me, it's a lot of fun when it's just that, it's like, it reminds me of childhood. Snow, play, vacation, school's out, and it's everybody. It's not religious. It's not, for me, it's not about Christmas. It's about just enjoying the holiday spirit. And that just means getting along with people and saying how you doing and having a good time.
Well, sure. And I grew up with Italian Catholics on one side and Jews on the other side. So I actually ended up celebrating both Christmas and Hanukkah. But in the end, it was almost more of a secular tradition in my home, because it was mostly about the gifts and, setting up a tree, maybe lighting some candles on a menorah, that kind of thing. But there was no real religious worship to it. But even so, I mean, it just shows that we can be diverse. It shows that we can be inclusive, and it doesn't actually, harsh anyone's mellow. Basically, it doesn't it doesn't get on anyone's nerves. It doesn't interfere.
Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade, we were singing Christmas carols in the public school, and I wasn't aware of the religious significance of it, but I do remember feeling kind of odd, like, why am I singing Christmas carols? I'm not Christmas. Why? I'm not Christian. Why is the school doing this? And of course, that went away with the when the ACLU ensured that the separation of church and state was important to protect people from being bullied by a religious majority. So I like the idea of this being all-inclusive as opposed to exclusive or just for one group.
Yeah, I mean, atheists we may be, but against Christmas we're not necessarily. I mean, yes, it would be best if the government didn't step in and say, you have to be this, that, or the other thing, or we have to celebrate this, that, or the other thing. And to have Christians raise these boycotts to try and make retailers give in and to try to make the rest of us conform to what they expect of us, well, it's kind of anti-American.
It is.
Yeah.
It's anti-American, and it also reminds me how there's that religious majority, and it's always that one majority, that one group, the conservative Christians, the Republicans, whatever, that want to re-Christianize America. And I've said in one of my previous shows that it's all about separation of church and state. Christmas is not the only example of where they want to Christianize America. The whole intelligent design debate reflects that they want to sort of co-opt public schools. I just think it should be for all of us. And so for me, it's all about including everyone rather than saying this is a Christmas holiday. It's everybody's holiday.
Yeah.
Or not, if you don't want to celebrate it, it doesn't have to be a holy day.
Of course, of course. So let's see what our next news story is. This would be the bad.
The bad.
It says here, burglar does his Christmas shopping early on Manhattan Avenue. A thief looted 4 buildings on a quiet Manhattan Avenue block in Greenpoint last week. Greenpoint thief did his Christmas shopping early. It says here, the rash of 5 burglaries in a 4-block radius around Manhattan Avenue and Frost Street included 2 apartments in the same building. My building was hit twice, said Tom Burrows, a member of the Community Board 1 Public Safety Committee. I walked outside one night and saw police cars and asked what had happened. They said, another burglary. The crime wave began on December 1st when a thief broke into an apartment on Metropolitan Avenue near Manhattan Avenue and stole a laptop, iPod, and television. The next night, a thief lifted a laptop from a Humboldt Street apartment. On Friday, a thief burglarized Burroughs building, stealing laptops from 2 apartments. This guy really likes his technology, apparently.
He does.
In each case, the perpetrators climbed up fire escapes and pried open unlocked windows. So it just seems like someone has decided to, to play Santa Claus, basically. I mean, he's not sneaking down chimneys, but close enough,
Well, burglary doesn't, theft doesn't take a holiday, so I don't see this as an attack on Christmas or Christianity. Obviously, theft is bad anytime. We would want to catch this guy and say, there's a thing about not stealing. I think we read that in the 10 Commandments somewhere.
I think I've heard of that myself. And while I don't necessarily believe in the 10 Commandments specifically as they are religious, there are some good things in there, and not harming others is certainly at the top of my list.
Darn right.
So, I mean, you don't have to be religious to believe in that sort of sentiment. So.
Exactly. Let's see. How about the
ugly?
The ugly, yeah. This has been in the news lately. Everyone knows about WikiLeaks. This is the Pope impeded abuse investigations. The Pope Benedict refused to allow Vatican officials to testify in an investigation by an Irish commission into alleged child sex abuse by priests, according to U.S. diplomatic cables released by WikiLeaks, the Guardian newspaper reported. Benedict was also reportedly furious when the Vatican officials were called upon in Rome. The Murphy Commission of Inquiry into sexual and physical abuse offended many in the Vatican, according to a cable dated February 26, 2010. The Vatican believes the Irish government failed to respect and protect Vatican sovereignty during the investigation. I don't know about you, but I don't know it's pretty obvious that protecting children is a little bit more important than sovereignty, and I think this is a good leak.
Well, I couldn't agree more. I mean, it certainly shows you where the Pope's priorities seem to be. He seems to think that the church, and the church's image, yes, is so much more important than protecting innocent lives, innocent children from being hurt. That's, in my view, completely disgusting.
Yeah. We've done shows before on child sex abuse and the Pope, and they're all about protecting the church's image, and we've got to get to the truth. I think if one thing we've learned from WikiLeaks, so there may be some criminal activity involved, there may be criminal charges to pursue against the WikiLeaks people, but there's also a free speech element in this, and let's remember that free speech is the most important thing. So I'm not going to rush to judgment and say that this is necessarily something that the government should clamp down on. I'm glad that WikiLeaks is there to provide a reporting, news that we can't get anywhere else.
Yeah, I am definitely glad that there's someone willing to speak out, willing to share this information with the rest of the world. It's very important that we learn about this kind of thing, that it's brought to light so that the perpetrators, the people that are doing this sort of horrible, horrible thing are, well, if not at least brought to justice, at least, you know, scrutinized by the public eye.
Yep.
That's very important.
Yeah, I'm sure that many of our viewers remember that fantastic debate between Christopher Hitchens and Stephen Fry on the one side versus Ann Widdecombe and Archbishop John Onaikan of Nairobi, in which Christopher Hitchens basically roasted the Catholic Church for saying, well, you know, we need to give these children the best kind of loving care we can possibly do, but, you know, the Catholic Church has already betrayed its trust in that respect. It's lost its moral compass. It's not doing that, and yet they want to protect the priests, so they want to shift them around. You don't have the moral authority to say you're going to protect children when you're hiding priests that have been raping them for 20, 30 years, and people are coming out. It's awful.
Yeah, and you'd think that religion, which is supposed to be about peace and unity, at least for a lot of people, would be all about protecting the innocent. I mean, certainly, you know, that sounds like the kind of thing that the followers of Jesus should believe in, but apparently not.
Yep.
Incidentally, I should mention we are a call-in show. If you want to discuss any of the topics that we are introducing today, call us, give us a call, and we'll chat with you at 206-421-5658. So what is our topic today?
Well, today, I think we're going to open with...
Well, yes, but our topic is the war on Christmas.
The war on Christmas, yes.
Indeed. And it seems that some people have gotten a very skewed idea of what the war on Christmas is supposed to be like. Certainly on the atheist side, our attitude towards this particular holiday. In fact, there are some of them that think it would look a little something like this. Attention citizens, this is Sector Control. It's that season again when the traitors among us who celebrate that most hated of holidays begin to worship their false gods and ritually exchange gifts in defiance of the laws of Complex Alpha. Should you discover any of your fellows celebrating Christmas, report it immediately to your nearest Sector Control representative. This is war, citizens, a war on Christmas, and it's a war we will win. If you wish to fight it yourselves, get down to your local Sector Control recruiting office to enlist. This kind of selfish hedonism and worship cannot be allowed in a free society. In the meantime, respect and obey, citizens. Sector Control, out. Well, needless to say, that's not our actual attitude. In fact, some of us quite like Christmas. So where did this war on Christmas actually originate? Where did it come from?
War? What war? Is there really a war on Christmas?
Well, allegedly there is, according to some people. And it is true that in the past, there are those who have objected to Christmas on at least a government level due to the separation of church and state. Provided to us by the Constitution. And so there have been some challenges by the ACLU and by private citizens to celebrating Christmas specifically in schools, in public schools, and that sort of thing.
Absolutely. I've always said, we ask any atheist, we support separation of church and state, the rule of law, and then the right to believe, have your own religion, whatever you want, or have no religion, and certainly not have any religion forced down you. So for me, the war on Christmas is all about watching certain personalities claim that we're out there to destroy Christmas, when in fact we're enjoying it just as much as everybody else is.
Sure. I mean, we like Christmas on certain levels, just not a religious one.
Right.
I mean, I enjoy the tree. I enjoy a lot of the carols, the Christmas songs. I enjoy giving and getting presents. It's a wonderful time to just come together, maybe have a little eggnog, or well, I don't do the fruitcake thing, but, I mean, there are a lot of aspects of Christmas that anybody can enjoy. And you don't have to be religious, and you certainly don't need the backing of the government of the holiday to enjoy it. I mean, like I say, we do have separation of church and state, and if someone else does not want to celebrate Christmas, well, how does that affect you really? Why do you need the backing of the government for your own religious holiday? That doesn't make a lick of sense.
Absolutely. Anybody who thinks that they need the government fiat to support and defend their ideas must have a pretty weak religion indeed.
Yeah, but it does seem that the war on Christmas was really, I hate to say it like this, but popularized by Fox News and especially Bill O'Reilly. Yeah, in fact, we've prepared a clip of some of Bill O'Reilly's highlights on the war on Christmas, so if we could run that.
This is for you, Bill.
Indeed.
A few years ago, and we won this war largely, that there was a very effective movement underway to wipe out in the public square all vestiges of Christmas. Stores were ordering employees not to say Merry Christmas. Towns were suing to get the creche off the public property. You don't deny that was happening, do you?
Back in the book segment tonight, we continue our reporting on which American stores are using Christmas in advertising this Christmas season. Here's the list. Again, our litmus test is which operations are using the greeting Merry Christmas in their advertising and which are not. So surely they understand the anger that's going to be engendered by millions of Americans who believe that their cherished holiday is being denigrated, disrespected.
Yeah, it indicates hostility. And
by not using the term.
By refusing to say the word Christmas. We now don't call it the Christmas break. It's the winter break, as if people worship winter.
See, I think it's all part of the secular progressive agenda. Absolutely. To get Christianity and spirituality and Judaism out of the public square. Yeah. If you can get religion out, then you can pass secular progressive programs like legalization of narcotics, euthanasia, abortion at will, gay marriage, because the objection to those things is religious-based, usually.
The seculars don't care about Christmas. All they want to do is get Christianity, Catholicism, Protestantism, whatever it may be, out of the public square. They want it out.
Why? What is it about Christmas they don't like? What?
I think it has to do with the fact that Christmas isn't just for Christians. It is an American cultural tradition.
You're not answering
Everyone
my
celebrates.
Right.
They don't like. I think they don't like something about.
But you don't know what it is.
We have. And
Austin's training.
Jesus Christ.
They don't like the baby Jesus. They're jealous of the holiday. Because Christians and Jews with Hanukkah are having a great time, and they're sitting around watching Rosie O'Donnell tapes. It's not the same.
I think you're nuts. I think you're crazy.
Am I overdoing it?
Yeah, I think you are.
Yeah, you think so?
It would be impossible to tell you how much I don't care that they're not saying Merry Christmas.
All right, but you don't care.
I don't, and I love.
Why other people do?
I love Christmas. No, actually, I don't.
So you don't understand anybody who's annoyed by it.
And it's a business decision. If they choose not to say Merry Christmas, well, how does that affect how I celebrate Christmas?
Because it's just one of these little annoying things that I say, if you're not going to say Merry Christmas and it's a federal holiday, I'm not going to buy the lamp.
See, I am
that small.
I think the other stuff,
Bill O'Reilly, you are the biggest living douchebag I've ever seen on television, with the possible exception of Jerry Falwell.
Well, I have to admit, he almost got Glenn Beckian in there when he's talking about how, well, if we get Christmas out of the public square, it's going to lead to euthanasia and gay marriage, which is so scary, and all of these other crazy things. It's like, how do you even get there from here? You know, how do you say that people deciding that we are going to say happy holidays to be inclusive of Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and secular people who enjoy the Christmas season but aren't also Christians? How do you get from there to euthanasia?
Exactly.
That makes no sense whatsoever. So, you know, not only is he kind of on the nutty side, almost conspiratorial in certain ways, it's just there really is no war on Christmas. He's completely wrong. You know, I mean, a lot of atheists like Christmas. If there's a war on anything, there's a war on the dominance of Christianity. I mean, you know, we're not saying you can't be Christian. We're not saying it's illegal to be Christian. We're not saying you can't be vocal about being Christian. We are saying, however, that we get to have our rights and our space too. You know, what's so wrong with that? I don't understand.
Yeah, and one of the things that, you know, Bill O'Reilly missed the opportunity to call us communists. I mean, you think that would be the biggest step? No. Communists are no longer the biggest, most stigmatized group in the world. Now it's atheists.
Well,
but we're the evil people because we're out to destroy something that he thinks is so precious. And it's like, no, we're not out to destroy or take anything away from you. We want freedom from religion as well as your right to practice religion.
Well, there is that, but, at least he also could have called us any number of other things. He could have tried to claim we're Muslims or something like that, which is a little weird. I don't actually know if Islam has a winter holiday.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. But, he could have stigmatized anybody. He could have demonized
He could have
anybody.
called us holiday terrorists. Maybe that's what's coming next.
Yeah, but I mean that the truth is though that Christmas has always been at least a little bit on the roasted side. I mean, there's plenty of Christmas parody songs out there. There's Christmas comedy, that sort of thing.
Yep.
So I mean, why all of a sudden people saying, we'd like to do something else instead? Why is that all of a sudden Bill O'Reilly's got a bug up his butt about it?
Yeah, remember Stan Freberg's Green Christmas from 1958? I mean, it's a great tradition. Oh, it looks like we've got a caller, Mike from Seattle. How you doing, Mike?
Can you hear us?
Can you hear me now?
Mike from Seattle.
We're working.
Hi.
There you go.
Oh, hello. How are you?
I'm fine.
Happy holidays.
Happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever.
Happy
Indeed.
Christmas, Hanukkah.
Do you have a question for us today?
Well, I just have a comment. I remember when I was growing up in the 50s and 60s where the Christians used to decry the commercialization of Christmas and how all the businesses were overdoing it and basically selling money. And it's kind of ironic that now the particularly conservative Christians have gone the other route where they get upset that it's not commercialized enough.
It's fantastic that you mentioned that. That is so true. In fact, the Stan Freberg's Green Christmas that I just mentioned actually decries it, back, 50 years ago. That's exactly what he was complaining about, is the whole commercialization of Christmas, and you articulated it perfectly.
Well, and the funny thing is, I actually kind of enjoy the commercialization of Christmas. In fact, I like to refer to it as Giftmas, the capitalist holiday. But that's mostly tongue-in-cheek. I'm not, really like celebrating Giftmas. That'd be silly. But you do have a point.
So, Mike, how are you celebrating this year?
Oh, I've got a few parties to go to. There's the Atheist Christmas party this evening.
Are you going to join us? You're going to join us at the Unitarian thing?
Oh, yeah, I'll be there.
Okay, we'll be doing a plug for that toward the end of the show. Great, we'll see you there then.
Okay.
Great, well, thanks for calling.
Okay, bye.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was a great call.
Cool.
I mean, that actually was an aspect I hadn't really considered fully, but he's totally right.
He is.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed the older stuff, not just Stan Freberg, but also, what's his name? Tom Lehrer. Tom Lehrer does a fantastic job. I mean, nothing is sacred, and I just love this guy. And he's been roasting Christmas since, the 50s at least.
Well, and we can't ignore Bob Rivers either.
Rivers.
There's a whole, actually I think there's 2 albums of comedy Christmas.
Yes.
And some of those songs are absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but the truth is that as far as creating controversy, both sides of this issue are at least a little bit guilty. I mean, I will say that, Bill O'Reilly is a little more guilty of the crazy. But, atheists have actually, on occasion, gone overboard as well with this whole thing.
Sure.
I mean, we have to at least cop to that much. But that's not to say we don't have a point at times.
Right.
Even if we get a little more rabid than we ought to. In the public square, we are actually right about what the Constitution says.
Yes.
We are actually correct that it's supposed to be more inclusive, that it is supposed to be for everybody, this whole holiday season.
Yeah, equality, separation of church and state. I think maybe one of the things that Bill O'Reilly's worried about, maybe it's a war on his falling ratings, because they are going down. Gee, I sure hope we're not causing any more damage to his ratings, but...
Well, the truth is that a lot of those clips that I showed or that we showed were from a couple of years ago, but it's not to say that he isn't still on our case about it. So I don't know if originally it was about his ratings, although now it might be. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, Billo, if you are still tuned in, or maybe you've tuned out already, but I wanted to let you know that yesterday, several of us atheists in Seattle went down to the capital of Washington State in Olympia, and we planted a tree of knowledge, and it's located in, I forget the name of the it's at the fountain, the Trivoli fountain, called a Tree of Knowledge, and we've decorated it with a bunch of pictures and quotes from famous religious leaders and scientists and writers and philosophers, and there's a lot of history on the tree. And I encourage everybody to go check it out. It's a really great Tree of Knowledge. And this is one of our ways of being inclusive and saying, hey, we welcome the season.
But it's startling how offended some people can get by even that much of a gesture. You know, it's like, well, it's not Christmas, it's not Christian, it's not about baby Jesus, so we're going to flip out about it.
Hey, equal time. I know. We can put up a thou shalt not steal thing next to it so that what happened last year doesn't happen again, right next to the atheist church.
It has happened that atheist holiday displays have been stolen or vandalized on occasion.
Yeah.
Real quick, I should mention, if you also have a question or comment, 206-421-5658. Give us a call. It would be great to hear from you if you have something to say or to ask. But what else do we have here? Well, you know, we should mention that atheism is not inherently against Christmas. I mean, atheism grows out of skepticism. That's what it's there for, or that's where it comes from. We don't immediately accept things like faith or, you know, scripture as necessarily true without going and checking. And there's nothing about that is inherently against a holiday that is about cheer, gift giving, renewal, all kinds of stuff like that. You know, we just happen to celebrate it a little bit differently. And again, I know I keep coming back to this. I don't see why that should mess up anybody's day. I don't see why that should make anybody else cranky about it.
Yeah, I'm never offended when people come and say, you know, Merry Christmas. I say Merry Christmas back because why not? It's the season. The only thing I object to is when they come to me and pound religion down my throat, whether I want it or not. I choose not to embrace religion. I'm a skeptic, and I came to it through, you know, as you mentioned, over several years, I grew into it. And you don't have to be militant about your Christianity. And, you know, we're not militant. We're not trying to convert anybody or take away their faith. What we're trying to say is, hey, share the season, share the good cheer.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I'm certainly all about equality and rights personally, and a lot of atheists are as well. And, you know, all we ask for is either equal time or everybody gets no time, at least as far as the public square, like literally the public square, the government square. I mean, if you have a private home, if you have a business, if you have something like that, and you decide that you want to celebrate Christmas or not celebrate Christmas, you know what? That's none of my concern. It's none of my business. It's not anybody's business but your own. But when it comes to the government, we have the separation of church and state. You absolutely have to keep that neutral.
Absolutely.
You know, egalitarian.
Yeah, separation of church and state. And by the way, and if you're a Christian, especially if you're a conservative Christian and you are interested in, you know, putting a friendlier face on Christianity, or maybe making a better impression on those of us who enjoy engaging with you, you should talk to your Kirk Camerons and Ray, what's his name?
Ray Comfort.
Ray Banana Man Comfort people, and tell them that that's kind of the wrong approach. You know, we don't like being screamed at, and I'm sure nobody else does.
Well, sure. But, I mean, I don't even see how there can possibly be a war on Christmas. I mean, you know, there isn't a, you know, I mean, I'm certainly not fighting one. And I don't know any other atheist who is. I'm sure there may be some who are really, really against the holiday, but, you know, I have to say, I think they're probably on the fringe. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, I grew up celebrating Christmas for most of my childhood and a large part of my adulthood. And it's just a wonderful time. It really is. It's a wonderful celebration. Mm-hmm. You know, if I leave the religious aspect out of it, well, who does that harm?
Yeah, there was a period for several years where I was really into the gift-giving thing with my family. And it wasn't religious. It was gift-giving. It was for the kids. I mean, who doesn't like seeing the look on the child's face when they open up a gift that you bought for them? It's a lot of fun.
Oh, absolutely.
But, you know, it doesn't have to have a religious aspect. And for me, I mean, Christmas might as well be the same as Thanksgiving or 4th of July. I personally treat it as a secular holiday because I'm not a religious person. I'd be really interested to know how other atheists are going to celebrate Christmas or not celebrate Christmas, how they're going to spend the holidays. because it's a lot of times for people who do not have faith, for those of us who call ourselves skeptics and are not religious, it can be a lonely time. And that's when you can also feel kind of vulnerable, left out, and it's you see the religious right beating us up. When I say us, I mean those of us who do not have faith, who are skeptics. I'd like to hear from atheists and see what their experiences have been in the past over the holidays and how they plan to spend the holidays this year.
Yeah, well, if you do in fact have a story to tell, our number is 206-421-5658. Please give us a call. One of the other things, it wasn't in the clip of Bill O'Reilly, but one of the things he objects to is Happy Holidays versus saying Merry Christmas, saying
Yes.
Happy Holidays versus saying Merry Christmas. And, but he also says that he wants to be inclusive. Like he actually says he has no problem with Jews saying Happy Hanukkah. Now, how is Happy Holidays not inclusive? I mean, you've got Christmas is a holiday, Hanukkah is a holiday, Kwanzaa is a holiday, New Year's is a holiday. Some people even go so far as to include Thanksgiving with Happy Holidays. I think that's a little further out than I'd like to go. I like to confine it to December. But even so, Happy Holidays envelops all of these holidays. So
Yes.
again, where's the problem? You know, what is so wrong with saying Happy Holidays? Does it have to be explicitly religious to satisfy Bill O'Reilly?
And there's another problem with Bill O'Reilly's approach, saying that it's okay to say Happy Hanukkah or whatever. Well, we Jews are in the minority. We don't walk up to somebody and say Happy Hanukkah unless we know that they're Jewish. So it's kind of a red herring for him to say, well, it's okay to say this or that. That's not what people generally do. If you don't know a person's religious background, or you're greeting a stranger, it's perfectly normal to say either Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays. But Happy Holidays is not an attack on Christmas.
Oh, by no means.
It's a total red herring.
How can it possibly be an attack? You know, just because you're not specifically singling out Christmas and saying, hey, Christmas rules?
Because you're not endorsing his religion.
Apparently. I mean, that's the only way that I can see that is perceived as an attack. But if that's what it is, then I honestly don't know how to combat that. You know, like, I mean, if I wanted to accommodate Bill O'Reilly, if I wanted to say to Bill, you know, okay, we will try and accommodate you, but also without, compromising my own personal position, then how can I say Happy Holidays without offending the guy? I don't know how to do that. And honestly, I'm not all that inclined to. But if I were forced, how could I do that and still remain true to myself? I don't know how.
Yeah. No, this so-called war on Christmas, according to Bill O'Reilly, I think is really just a red herring. It's really just a diversion. It's his way of creating division where there is none, creating controversy where there is none. For me, it's a great holiday, and I really think that, and the people that he interviews, he picks on the people who are least able to defend themselves. I think what we ought to do is stand up to Bill O'Reilly and say, you're wrong. Happy Holidays is friendly. There's no way you can extract something unfriendly out of that, and to represent otherwise as absolutely false and disingenuous and dishonest on your part.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm sure he's not the only perpetrator. He's just one of the more vocal ones. Yeah. I did actually see a clip of Laura Ingraham, again of Fox News.
Oh, boy.
You know, and most of us have come to realize that Fox News is kind of a political and even religious arm, and not straight up news like they try to claim. But I saw Laura Ingraham grilling a member of an atheist group who, honestly, I think she picked her because she seemed kind of meek and unwilling to defend herself. But, she was really sarcastic and really nasty about it. And it just seems like they're trying to heat up this alleged war by fighting it all themselves.
Yeah.
And, what if they gave a war, but nobody came, I mean, you have to have two to fight a war.
Yeah. And
honestly, we're not really a target.
Yeah, Bill O'Reilly says there's a war on Christmas. Do you think there's a war on Christmas? Let us know. Give us a call at 206-421-5658. We'd love to talk with you.
Indeed.
What else?
So, well, I mean, again, with the whole war on Christmas thing, the whole creating controversy and both sides being guilty of it. I mean, do you know anyone personally who's tried to just, build up a kind of...
Animosity?
Yeah.
The Grinch, that's the only one that comes to mind. I mean, besides him, no.
Yeah. So, I mean, how do we get out of this? What kind of methods can we, as atheists, free thinkers, or just, you know, general civilians, how can we, you know, like not neuter, but blunt this whole weapon, this club that they're trying to beat us with? What can we do about that as a group?
That's a good question. I don't know that we need to actually do anything. I think one of the most important things that we should do is continue doing what we've been doing, which is be good citizens, keep donating blood, keep doing good things, you know, gift wrapping. We do tons of things for the community that they don't know about. We're all about building community. We don't believe in a reward or a life in the hereafter. We believe that it's all in the here and now. We have a very short amount of time to do it in. So we're not about, you know, being rewarded for good deeds. What matters now is what kind of community I build now, what kind of community I leave for my children.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the kind of community I would like to build is one where people who are all of different life paths can come together and not have to fight. And isn't that really what Christmas is all about, is peace and living together in harmony? I mean, at least that's what I've been told for pretty much my entire life.
I think everybody would agree with that. Unless you're Bill O'Reilly and it's all about commercialization and making sure you endorse Christmas and you use the word Christmas in all your advertising and multiple times so you don't get on the boycott list.
Right. Oh, and boy, do they ever have that boycott list.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't we have, where is that news story? There was one about the...
the colored-coded thing?
Yeah,
this
that's
one right
the
here.
one.
Yes. Kind of relating to the ugly. The American Family Association has a color chart to battle the war on Christmas. This is hard to believe, but they've come down to color coding it. The American Family Association girded itself early to do battle against those evil anti-Christian corporations that don't care enough about America to honor its top religion. The conservative organization has color-coded companies, that is, they have color-coded them based on how Christmas or Christian-friendly they are, as determined by whether they use the word Christmas in their advertising. Now, here's the criteria. The American Family Association reviewed up to 4 areas to determine if a company was Christmas-friendly or not in their advertising: print media, broadcast media, website, and/or personal visits to the store. If the company's ad references the items associated with Christmas, such as trees, wreaths, lights, etc., it was considered as an attempt to reach Christmas shoppers. Companies selling a Christmas item without using the word Christmas are considered to be censoring the term. So the color code is green. Green is good, right? Companies use the term Christmas on a regular basis. We consider that the company is Christmas friendly. Yellow refers to Christmas infrequently or in a single advertising medium, but not others. And red, the company may use Christmas sparingly in a single or unique product description, but as a company does not recognize it. There you go. You know what color you are, depending on how well you endorse Christmas in your advertising.
And this whole thing just illustrates something that I personally feel is a real problem, where it says right here that they don't care enough about America to honor its top religion. But America has nothing to do with a top religion. You know, I mean, sure, there's a lot of Christians in America, but that doesn't make America a Christian nation. And this is the problem with a religion whose God has promised that the world belongs to you if you're one of them. That is certainly not the way that anybody should behave. It's awfully selfish, and there are those of us who will not be forcibly converted to your religion. That could be a real problem. And so when you've got these color codes that say you're not one of us, or you are one of us, or one of those things where it seems very divisive. It seems like the sort of thing that could create, and well, maybe not an actual shooting war, but certainly quite a lot of butting of heads. And so that to me is definitely something that we should be avoiding, or at least fighting back against somehow.
Yeah.
Good evening. We interrupt this regularly scheduled episode for an announcement about some things what occurred recently.
Things what occurred?
Yeah, things what occurred.
What happened?
What happened? Well, we had a comedy benefit. We had some folks down at the Tacoma Comedy Club, and there was comedy to be had, and sort of atheist-themed comedy, and it was a great time. And I was there, and you were there, and you were there, and welcome to the camera.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Beth, everybody, she's been sort of one of the many backbones that are needed for the show to make it go. And so it was a great time. We had, there was food and drink to be had, of which I had a bit, and some great comedy. And we'd like to take this time to thank the people who offered their space and offered their talents to this benefit.
And we want to make sure that we're going to thank these guys individually because they did donate their time. And that's something that if you have any interaction with any kind of comedian, you know that time is essentially money. I mean, that's a colloquialism that we all use, but for them it's really true. So one of the first performers that we saw that night was Derek Sheen. And he is involved with, he's the guy who does the Delicious Mediocrity podcast. And he's also involved with the People's Republic of Comedy, comedy with a K. And he was hilarious. There was also Aaron Riggs-Flett. He is the gentleman, if you're aware at all with current events going on in Seattle, he is the guy who was spearheading Jesus for Less, the independent movie that's being produced in the area.
And if you do live in Tacoma and we're wondering about the bookstore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. There is also Jeremy Whitman, who is a friend of the show, friend of Sam's and Mike's.
One of the creators of the show. You might have seen him when we did the last time we sort of had folks up here talking about stuff and.
Yeah.
So.
And then the headliner of the show was Brad Upton. And he, if you recognize that name at all, it's probably from Almost Live. He was involved with the show, Almost Live show that I've loved since I was a little kid. And then Brad surprised all of us during the show by donating half of the proceeds to the comedy CD that he was selling to us as well. And that was out of the blue. So those four guys, nothing but thanks to you guys. You donated your time. You made a hilarious, awesome event for all of us. And it was great. I thought that night was one of the funnest experiences that I'd had in a long time. And I really appreciated it.
It was great. Apparently we were quite an audience, though, too.
That's what I was hearing, yeah, is that we did very well on the audience front. And
it was kind of fun because I got the impression several times during the show, and they even said from the podium that, or no, it wasn't a podium, the microphone. The stage. You pick your colloquialism, that there were several jokes that normally they had to explain, or they usually looked at a sea of dumbfounded faces, and they were sort of shocked at an audience that would just sort of immediately get all of these references they were making.
Indeed.
And they were pleasantly surprised.
A great time was had by all, and we did get a tape of this, and expect more information about that on our website, SCANatheist.tv. And like I said, this was a benefit show, so we are raising funds for our first season at KLAY. So please, if you've got any to spare, go ahead and hit the website.
Absolutely. KLAY, we're actually going to be starting up very soon the first radio broadcast of Ask an Atheist, the radio show, is going to be happening on January 2nd. That's actually going to be our same time slot, Sundays at 3. I don't know what our sandwich shows are, but sadly I don't believe the people who believe Bigfoot faked the moon landing will be following us to KLAY.
They will be missed.
I think normally you can pick up their show through some sort of a tinfoil helmet. But in the meantime, we will be coming to KLAY there, and as Sam said, even if you weren't able to make the comedy show, we do appreciate a donation on the website. We've given you basically 6 hours, or not 6 hours, well over 6 months.
Yeah.
Months. Get my iterations of time.
You're out of here.
What have I been doing?
Where have I been?
Some sort of insane hallucination.
It's like a multiple month blackout I've had. It's like, what did I drink? Yeah, 6 months of free programming, and as they say on KUOW, if you like what we're already giving you for free, please feel terribly, terribly guilty for this, and send us a couple bucks, because we totally would appreciate it. Go to askanatheist.tv, little button on the left-hand side of the page. Give until the guilt goes away. That's all you can do.
And finally, I do want to thank actually the venue, which was I neglected to do, which is Tacoma Comedy Club. It's a new comedy club in Tacoma at 6th and Tacoma. It's new, it's great, it's one of the nicest comedy clubs I've ever been in, and I'd like to thank them for helping us out and being very generous with the space. And it was such a good time that I don't expect this will be the last sort of event we do under the
I hope not. It was really
Ask an
fun.
Atheist
I
benefit.
hope that we can do it again.
It's a very different kind of evening. So thanks, everybody, and we will see you guys on the radio.
You won't see us, though.
Yes, you will, actually.
Oh, eventually, yes, there will be a video component, but not on the radio part.
Well, if you turn it up real loud.
Yeah, you see pictures.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.
Actually, and furthermore, if you have a question for us, you can certainly go there and email it to us, or you know, I mean, we have ways for you to communicate with us that aren't necessarily calling into the show. But speaking of calling into the show, it looks like we have Mike from Seattle. I don't know if it's the same Mike, but
Different Mike? Mike, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Great. Happy holidays to you.
One thing I noticed earlier, you guys had talked about how Bill O'Reilly said that Happy Hanukkah would actually be acceptable.
Right.
I find this hilarious, the hypocrisy that's sort of inherent in that, because if there was a department store, like say, if Macy's, for instance, wanted to do exclusively Happy Hanukkah, these guys would be up in arms about the exact same stuff.
Absolutely.
almost certainly.
They'd be excluded again. It really comes down to the fact that these guys are giant hypocrites, that it isn't equal time or that they're being picked upon or preyed upon or persecuted in any way. It's that they simply want to continue to dominate the conversation. They want a monopoly on it.
Well, they want a Christian America.
Oh, yeah, if they had their way, we'd probably be living in a theocracy.
Yes.
Which is something I personally would like to prevent.
Oh, undoubtedly. So, yeah, I find it hilarious that they always throw that in there simply because they don't want to be viewed as anti-Semitic. However, if a department store did give the sort of exclusivity to Hanukkah that they gave to Merry Christmas.
Yeah, you got
and again, I again really don't understand what it is that they're up in arms about. What demonstrable harm this actually does to them.
Yeah, it's really less about demonstrable harm than just sort of browbeating everybody else who's a minority, in my opinion. And the whole thing about, you know, it's okay to say Happy Hanukkah or Happy Kwanzaa or whatever, that really is just completely getting away from the point. It's all about reinforcing the dominance of, you know, this nation's quote-unquote favorite religion. Well, it may be the favorite for many people, but not all of us. And the idea that I'm supposed to join in and say Merry Christmas when, in fact, it's not Christmas that I enjoy, it's the holidays themselves, is simply ludicrous. So Bill O'Reilly is just, you know, telling his usual lies.
Well, I mean, how often are we told that this is a Christian nation? It's not. It may be a Christian. It may be a nation with a lot of Christians in it, but it's not a Christian nation. It's a secular nation that tries to be egalitarian.
Yeah, I also find it a little bit funny that politically the people who are wanting to force businesses to exclusively say Christianity-based greetings are the ones who are usually the most vocal about any kind of pressure or regulation on business in the first place. But they turn it around when a company wants to be inclusive and realize that not all of its customers are Christians and that they want everyone's business.
Yeah, I mean, that is certainly another aspect of it, is if you do only talk about Christmas, then the people who aren't Christians, they feel left out. They're like, well, isn't this my country too? So that's also a very, very good point. And I'm not sure if these people have considered that or even care about it. People like Bill O'Reilly, I mean, how much does that actually matter to them? I think secretly in their heart of hearts, it probably doesn't.
I think you're probably right about that. I think that people like Bill O'Reilly are really just kind of firing up the base. I think that it's really, really easy to get your supporters to send monies to organizations like the AFA or Focus on the Family when you have something for them to get angry about.
Yeah.
But it gets really hard to get people in large numbers to care about something like, say, charity. It's just easier to get angry about something that, in the end, you really aren't required to do anything about. I mean, it's not like, what are you really required to do aside from maybe write an angry letter to Sears or J.C. Penney or whatever if they don't say, Merry Christmas? But if you look at, say, something like poverty, something that I would think, based on their scripture, Christians are supposed to get angry about, it really would require them to go work at a soup kitchen or at some kind of a shelter or something. But it kind of plays into the fact that people are extraordinarily lazy. And it's just easier to get people angry about something. It's easier to get those end-of-the-year donations in than it is to try to appeal to the best in people. It's easier to prey on that part of the human brain, that lizard part that's just angry and xenophobic and just wants to, play up its own persecution complex.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the aspects of the things that their Savior apparently said is that you're supposed to dedicate your life to helping those in need, charity. I mean, that's what this season is about. In fact, I remember going as a child with my parents to a hospital where we gave presents to mostly old people, but also people who had lost limbs and things. And so I don't really know why they're reluctant to do that kind of thing. I mean, I'm sure some of them do. Some of them must. But that's an aspect of the season that seems to be forgotten, certainly by the people who think there's a war on Christmas. I mean, my family was fairly secular, and we're doing this sort of thing. So I don't know where their Christmas spirit is, but apparently some of us are better at having it than they are.
Yeah, I don't know why they need this constant validation from a private business, which is really only throwing this stuff out there to make money in the first place. I find it one sort of odd and sort of, I don't really know how to explain it. It's like, why do they care what Macy's or J.C. Penney or Sears have to say about the holidays anyways? Is it going to take away their ability to celebrate it?
By the way, Mike, we should probably also remind them, or at least Bill O'Reilly, when they feel offended. Doesn't it say in more than one place in the New Testament that Christians can expect to be persecuted? Anyway, we do need to wrap up. We appreciate your call, Mike. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you guys.
You bet. Have a great day. Also, one more announcement. I wanted to let you know that talking about the transition to KLAY radio, our first radio episode will be January 2nd at 3 p.m. on 1180 a.m. KLAY radio. So hope you can tune into that.
We also should mention that after the show today, we are going to be having a potluck at the Northwest Free Thought Coalition. There's a winter solstice potluck dinner at 6556 35th Ave Northeast, Seattle, Washington. Again, that's at 6 p.m. It's actually at a University Unitarian church, but don't let that fool you.
Oh, the end of the earth.
Exactly, yes. It looks like the earth is going to end yet again.
Only 160 more days till Judgment Day.
Oh, dear.
Wow.
So, there are some billboards up proclaiming that Jesus will return on May 21st, 2011. Let's see, it says here that 20 billboards will appear in Nashville, Tennessee, and also around the metro area of Detroit on Monday. So get yourselves ready, folks, for the end of the earth.
Put that in your Outlook. Make sure you get that in there. You don't want to miss it.
Indeed.
Yeah, good goes on here to say, we're living at a time when mankind seems to sense that the end of all things is very near. Just about everyone has a theory as to how the world is threatened and when that time might come. The media and the internet are full of doomsday speculations concerning the New Age Mayan calendar and the year 2012. Some scientists predict that global warming could wipe out life on planet Earth within a certain number of years. Wow, the end is near, Well,
the end has been near so many times.
How many times?
Yeah, quite a few. Although, actually, in a way, I'm kind of looking forward to it. It should be mildly restful. I am, of course, kidding. But, people seem to predict the end of the world many, many times.
How many times have we had predictions from Nostradamus that still haven't come true.
Exactly.
I'm waiting for them to say when something's going to happen. Tell me what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, and I'll measure it. We'll see if it actually happens. But don't come to us after the fact and say, see, he predicted this war in Iraq was going to happen.
Well, if I remember right, Jesus had predicted that the end of the world would come before the people that were hearing his voice,
yes,
before they, passed from the earth or something like that.
Yeah.
And, that didn't happen, so everyone had to retcon that particular prophecy. And now it seems that the end of the earth comes at least once a year, if not more.
Yeah, I like to remind some of my religious friends that we're not living in end times, please. We're living in difficult times. There's a big difference. Stick around because life's not going to suddenly end. This whole end times thing, it's just not going to happen.
No, I don't think that it is. And honestly, even if the Earth were to end, there's a big honking universe out there. I don't think the whole thing is going to go away. So this prophecy, it doesn't quite seem to be addressing anything, relevant, honestly. And don't sell all of your stuff. Don't give everything away, because when May 12th, or was it May 21st? No, when May 22nd, 2011 comes along, you're going to feel like a fool and you're going to be broke. So, exercise a little bit of caution, a little bit of restraint, a little bit of common sense. It's not that difficult.
Yeah. Besides, it's not the universe or the world's going to come to an end, isn't it? The whole galaxy, when the Andromeda galaxy collides with the Milky Way in about, what does Christopher Hitchens say, 5 billion years, which is supposed to be really, really soon, 5 billion years?
Well, I'll be around for it, I'm sure.
Holy cow. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm going to live forever or die trying. That's for sure.
Yeah, so far so good.
Yeah, oh yeah, I haven't died yet.
Yep.
Believe me.
Yeah.
So, I think I should also mention that I, at least, have a YouTube channel called Bionic Dance, in which I address many of these issues as well. And a friend of mine and I, he goes by All Babies Are Atheists on YouTube. We have a podcast called The A Word, and you can find that at theaword.podomatic.com. And it's an hour long. It's a lot like this show. So, but a little more back and forth, a little less news, but still, it's a lot of fun. So give that a try. And you can also check us out online, this Ask an Atheist at, what is it,
www.askanatheist.tv.
Indeed. So there is, I believe there's a message board there, a web board, so you can ask questions.
Ask us questions, leave messages, you bet.
Absolutely. And we do sometimes answer those questions here on the air. And some of them have actually been pretty interesting. So.
Yep. One of the questions I'd like to ask our viewers, especially our strongly believing Christian theists out there, is one of my favorite quotes is, science has questions that may never be answered. Religion has answers that may never be questioned. Which of those two worlds would you rather live in?
That's
why I'm a skeptic. That's why I'm an atheist. I believe in free inquiry. I believe in the power of the human mind, as Clarence Darrow put it, the power of a child to master the multiplication tables. That, to me, is more precious than any religious artifact. An idea is an infinitely more monumental thing than a cathedral.
Well, and, the truth is that I could be made into a believer if I had to be.
Evidence?
Yes, if there was evidence for it. But it's the fact that the religious demand faith of me that I simply can't do it.
But how do you do that? How do you get from I believe, and therefore it exists, to here's the evidence? They want to claim that it's scientifically possible to prove that God exists, and yet the whole discussion about God and the hereafter is supernatural, and science isn't concerned with that.
Well, if you want to discuss these issues with us, we will, of course, be at the Northwest Free Thought Coalition Winter Solstice Potluck Dinner at 6556 35th Ave Northeast, Seattle, Washington. That's at 6 p.m. So come and join us there.
University Unitarian Church.
Indeed.
So hope to see you there.
It would be a great time. Come along and join us for that.
All right. Well, I guess it's time for Happy Holidays to begin.
Indeed. So looking forward to joining all of you for a happy holiday season.
Merry, happy Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa.